Major breaking news. Logan Paul just sold his Pikachu Illustrator PSA 10, which is a one of one, for $16.5 million at the Golden auction. And guys, we need to talk about the ramifications behind this situation, because while a lot of people just think this is a bunch of hot smoke, it is a much bigger deal than people realize, and we're going to get right into that today. But guys, before we get into it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If you're interested in some gamer subs, use code Theory or pop a click the link down in the description below, get 10% off your order. And without any further ado, let's get into it. So yeah, guys, yesterday Logan Paul sold his Pikachu Illustrator card for $16.5 million at the Golden auction, which is run by Ken Golden. And we actually talked about Ken Golden a month ago here on the channel. This guy is super big in the cards and collectible space. I mean, he is, that's literally his whole business, is all about collectibles and stuff like that. And he's been working with Logan Paul to get this all set up. But guys, it's absolutely insane that one Pokemon card can sell for so much money. $16.5 million for cardboard. Now that's what I'm talking about, you know what I'm saying? Before we get into the ramifications of all of it, let's just quickly watch the clip of when this happened. See Ken Golden's there. Oh yeah, he also got the Guinness Book of World Records too. Insane, guys. So the most expensive card ever sold happened yesterday, and unfortunately, a lot of people are not pleased with Logan Paul. But listen, Logan Paul was kind of the guy that started this whole Pokemon craze, if I'm not mistaken, quite a few years ago, and I guess he's just held on to that ever since. But let's quickly take a look at the guy who bought it. This dude here. So this dude's locked in.
And I'm not stopping now. This was only the beginning.
Yeah, so this guy is the guy who bought the card. And he goes on with a little bit of a speech on how this is only the beginning, and he's going to, I guess, I don't know, buy a bunch more stuff. But yeah, dude's clearly locked in. But guys, let's just quickly have a real conversation about the ramifications behind this. So let's just firstly put, you know, our emotions aside. I get it, you don't like Logan Paul. Most people don't. But you can't deny the fact that this is what's going to get a ton of attention for the world, for the people outside of the trading card game. The rich are going to be looking at this. But most importantly, guys, this solidifies legitimacy when it comes to viewing cards and collectibles as more of an investment than it ever has before. Now, obviously, nothing is financial advice on this channel and in this video, but you can't deny the fact that people are starting to view collectibles and trading card games with more of an open mind. They're starting to consider the value behind it. I mean, look at this Ichiro Oda signature Luffy card. It's not one of one, but there is only one quite like it in the entire One Piece TCG, and I would argue this is one of the most expensive cards that's probably ever going to exist in the One Piece TCG, unless Oda starts throwing a signature out in new upcoming cards, which is hard to say. But, you know, no matter what, this will still be the first. And, you know, really incredible stuff. We've also got the red drop manga cards as well, especially the Luffy card, which will always be the grail, I think. If Luffy's on it, it's gonna be number one compared to Sabo and Ace. And, you know, we've got the Gear 5 Luffy as well. And I do think a lot of these cards are great contenders to be the holy grails for the One Piece card game. Now, obviously, they kind of already are. Like, I'm not just saying that. It's kind of already happening. But, you know, the current prices we're seeing on these cards pales in comparison to something quite like this. Now, I know this isn't very common. I know this isn't it's not like every card game has got a long list of cards worth millions and millions of dollars, but, you know, my point still stands. I really do think we need to wake up and realize that although we can poke fun at the fact this is cardboard, and we can get mad at scalpers and people who are buying up everything, but regardless of how we feel, guys, there is massive demand for these cards, especially the low print rare cards, such as the red drop manga card, such as the Oda signature card. You know, the Gear 5 Luffy manga card is a top contender for the mangas, including the Gold Roger card. We've also got the gold and silver SPs that are going up as well, and serialized cards, and just like, you know, the list can go on and on. And guys, I understand there's obviously going to be a lot of frustration behind this because so many people, you know, they're not into this space to make a bunch of money off cards or collectibles and stuff like that. They just want to play the game and stuff like that. But, like, I have to argue against the fact that we all have to be here together. We all have to support each other, and we all have to find balance. I am always advocating for the player base. I don't agree with what was going on with EBO3, and thankfully they're doing reprints. But I don't agree with scalpers buying up every single last bit of product. You know, I think there needs to be balance. I think that we need to be able to share. There needs to be limited product per customer. I think that we can't push out the player base, but I also don't think we should be getting mad at the prices of certain cards going up, especially cards that deserve it. I'm not talking about these stupid scalped, Gengar Nami situations and stuff like that. Like that's just plain ridiculousness. But listen, this card deserves to be the price it is, okay? I'm seeing this card selling for $15,000 to $20,000 PSA 10s, which is absolute insanity, especially with this card here as well. I don't see too many gold Roger cards, but very expensive. And of course, the gold and silver SPs are just, through the wall. But I think it's time to really get serious about being a collector, viewing the One Piece TCG as a legitimate place to store a bit of money. Obviously, again, not financial advice, but, because I just don't think Pokemon has ever really had competition the way it has before. And, obviously Pokemon will probably be king forever. I mean, Pokemon has an incredibly strong IP, and I do think even without a story, they can probably keep going for 50 to 100 years, just considering the way it's done. But I still think One Piece has such a strong shot for at least the next 5 to 10 years to be such a dominant force in the TCG world, maybe even longer. I do think that people need to be more serious with the One Piece cards, especially these specific cards here. Serialized cards are unique as well. I've never been able to see one myself, but can you imagine the one of 1,000 for whatever serialized cards that are out there? It's just going to be a big deal for a long time, guys. And I do think that people need to stop being so emotional about this. Like, I understand there is just a lot of frustration behind stuff, and perhaps there does need to be more print for future sets, because I do think we can't be locking too many people out, especially with the battle towards scalping and stuff like that. But as long as Bandai keeps the pull rates very low, we can still keep these cards valuable, and I think that over the long term, especially as One Piece matures even more and we get closer and closer to the end, and it's almost going to be your own, and it's going to get to a point where it's your own fault if you get spoiled because you've had like 25 30 years to watch. But I just think as we get close to the end of One Piece, I think once we know what the One Piece is, where the story is going to go, I do think these cards are going to just absolutely skyrocket. They're going to blow up. The older cards will obviously do a lot better, but, I do think that the demand for the One Piece card game is just going to continue, is going to blow out of the water. And the other thing, too, guys, is that, no matter what, I know we have the tournaments, and I know Bandai is, keeping the game alive, but theoretically, these cards are forever. The card game is forever. You could be 80 when One Piece is maybe not as relevant anymore, or isn't, I don't know, but, you could still enjoy and play the card game. And the same thing for collecting. You can still reminisce and look at those cards when you are an old person or whatever. Pass them down to your kids. It's hard to say what the future holds, but there's no denying the fact that these pieces of art are collectibles now. The legitimacy of viewing them as an asset is becoming stronger and stronger by the day. And although there is a war between supply and demand and players and collectors and investors, we can no longer deny that this is really happening. And if Logan Paul can get away with a $16.5 million auction for a piece of cardboard, then no doubt that can happen in the One Piece TCG as well. The question is, when and what card? That's what I say. And one final thing that I wanted to insert here at the end, because I was just thinking about it while I was editing the video, is the fact that we're living in a time now with millennials, with Gen Z, Gen Alpha coming up now, and maybe Gen X, hard to say, but we're kind of in a time now, guys, where cards and collectibles have always kind of been part of the pop culture. Now, obviously, the boomers, that wasn't really their thing, but I do think, as time goes on, I do think the presence of TCGs being viewed as valuable, pieces of collectibles and assets even, will become a stronger and stronger use case. Because I'll tell you right now, I was on the Facebook Marketplace, and somebody was selling, okay, now this I didn't pay a ton of money for this now, but somebody was selling a Yu-Gi-Oh card, and I was just curious. I was interested, and it happened to be the 2002 Dark Magician. Take a look at that. Paid about $80 for it. I think it's worth like $130 right now. But I haven't really been collecting Yu-Gi-Oh cards lately at all. Like, I mean, I grew up with Yu-Gi-Oh! My card collection looks like crap because I didn't take care of them, but just the fact that somebody like me who doesn't play Yu-Gi-Oh! Anymore, but has like those nostalgic memories of owning Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards and, you know, wanting to collect a couple of good mint condition ones. It just kind of happened, you know, and just think about how that is going to roll over into not only Pokemon, into One Piece. I mean, maybe Magic. I mean, Magic probably, yeah, because Magic's always kind of still been relevant. But, you know, just collecting in general. I mean, you know, Dragon Ball, Union Arena, do they all have the chance to kind of go the same route? Yes, of course. But I do think because there are millions and millions, and dare I say billions of people who will love and enjoy One Piece, the market for nostalgia will always be relevant. And even when the card game or the tournaments kind of die off, I do think there will still be a type of demand that will be very relevant. But guys, overall, I do think this is good. I think, obviously, I do know there will be a lot of frustration no matter what is said about this whole situation because, you know, Logan Paul and, you know, Pokemon, and now he's coming into One Piece. I get it. A lot of people are frustrated. But listen, you can't hate the player, hate the game, and if you hate the game, why you on my channel, man? But anyways, guys, I hope you did enjoy this video. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I really do love the speculation, guys, so be sure to let me know. Video should pop on the screen. Be sure to click it, and I will see you over there.